Welcome to the Wealthy Woman's Podcast, a podcast for high-achieving women who are great at making money but struggle to build wealth. You'll learn how to take control of your money, increase your net worth, and make more. Ladies, it's time to create a life with more money and more freedom. Let's dive in. Well, hello there. Welcome back to the podcast. So this week, I am so excited about this episode. The title is the number one wealth building skill every woman should have. And I'm going to break it down for you all during this episode. I'm so excited about it. But before I dive in, I want to talk to anyone who can relate to what I'm about to say. You are great at making money, but you are not building wealth. If that is you, I want to invite you to schedule a consultation with me because you are exactly the person I love to help inside of my coaching program. So I know I talk about the Wealthy Women's Academy often, but I also offer just one-to-one private coaching as well, where I will work with you to look at your specific situation and we'll work together privately over a specific amount of time. But during a consultation, I'll be able to really look at what's happening for you. What's going on? Why are you not building wealth? What are the action steps you're taking that is sabotaging you? What are the thought processes and the feelings that are keeping you stuck? And on the consultation, we'll be able to figure all of that out and decide if joining the Wealthy Women's Academy is the best thing for you or if you would benefit more from private coaching. But the only way you'll find out is by booking a call. Book your consultation. Let's get on the phone. Let's talk about how you can get from where you are to where you want to be. Because there's nothing more frustrating than doing everything right. Because here's the thing, you probably have done everything right. You've gone to college, you've gotten the degree, you've gotten the job, you've climbed the ladder, or you started the business and the business is making money, but you are not feeling all that wealthy. You're not feeling like you're benefiting from all the hard work you're putting into your career or your business. And if that is you, that is who I designed the Wealthy Women's Academy for, because I know firsthand what it's like to be a high earning woman, but still spending everything I make. Also, just not investing, not saving. And maybe if I was able to save a little bit of money, maybe I got a windfall and I saved a few $1,000s. The next thing I knew, I was spending it all again. Or I would, pay off my credit cards, but then max them out again. That is a vicious cycle that I know many of you ladies are living in, and I want to help you to break that cycle. And there's no better time than the present to decide, okay, I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to change my financial life, and I'm willing to invest in myself to make it happen. Okay. So if you're interested in that, just go to the show notes. Book your consultation, book your interest call. Let's have a conversation about getting you to where you want to be, from overspending and not knowing where all your money goes to building wealth and being in control of your money and spending intentionally on things that truly matter to you versus impulsively spending all your money away, and it is robbing you from being able to build wealth on a consistent basis. So if that is speaking to you, if that sounds like something you want and need in your life, then all you have to do is go to the show notes. But now let's go ahead and jump into the episode. So as I said, the title of this podcast episode is the number one wealth building skill every woman should have. And so I bet you know what that skill is. At least you think you know what that skill is, because whenever I bring this up, people think that they know. And of course, it's usually, they need to be really good at creating wealth. They need to be really good at making money, at earning money. They need to have a degree. They need to have a high-powered job, or they need to have a successful business. And you are not wrong for thinking that. Making money is super important. It's just not the most important skill set that builds wealth. right? You may have heard of the saying, it's not about how much money you make, it's about what you do with the money that you make. Well, my rendition of that saying is, it's not how much money you make, it's how you manage the money that you make. So, the most important skill that you can have so that you can build wealth is to manage money well. That is what wealthy women do. Yes, they are great at making money. They're great at creating value. They may have high-powered careers. They may be killing it in corporate America. They may have a successful business or a little bit of both. But that is just the top of their money-making funnel, right? That's just the top of their wealth-building funnel. Of course, you need to have money in order to manage it. But there are so many people who make lots and lots of money, but they are not wealthy. Why? Because they lack the skill of being able to manage their money well. So today, that is what I'm going to talk about. That is what we're going to really dive deep into. So this episode may be a little longer than normal, but stick with it because it is so important that you know these things that I'm going to share with you. Okay, so there are 4 skill sets that you'll need in order to be able to manage your money well. And before I get into them, I want to discuss why people avoid managing their money. So I like to call these thought errors. These are some of the thought errors that people have. So a thought error is simply a wrong way of thinking. Like they think a certain way, and that way of thinking is keeping them stuck. It is preventing them from building wealth. This thought error is keeping them stuck. Okay, so thought error number 1 is they think that managing money restricts their freedom. I'm just going to name all 3 of them and then I'll break them down or debunk them in just a minute. So the first one again is that they think it restricts their freedom, right? A lot of people say, I don't want to manage my money. I don't want to even look at it because it's going to take away all my freedom. I'm not going to be able to have fun. I'm not going to be able to travel. I'm not going to be able to do anything that I really enjoy. And I'm here to tell you that that is a thought error. The second thought error is that they may think, I'll wait until I have more money before I start to really get serious about managing it. That's a huge thought error. So the third thought error is, I just don't feel like it, right? It's just too much work. Those 3 thought errors keep people from managing their money, and I'm going to address all 3 right now. So the first one, managing money restricts your freedom. That couldn't be further from the truth. In my experience, this is my personal experience, and from when I'm working with my clients, I've noticed this time and time again, that when you manage your money, you actually have more freedom. So I want you to just think about where you are right now. If you're not managing your money, if you're spending everything you make, if you're making the money but you're not building wealth, how much freedom do you really have? I know it seems like you have freedom because you're just spending impulsively and you're not paying attention, but you always have to deal with those negative consequences on the back end. You have to deal with the shame. You have to deal with the embarrassment. You have to deal with the frustration of not being as far along as you want to be. Like there's so many things that are keeping you from really experiencing true freedom. True freedom in the sense of mental freedom, so you're not thinking and worrying about money all the time, but also the freedom of just being able to really live the life that you truly want to live because money's not a problem, right? So that is a thought error. To think that managing your money will restrict you is not true. Now, if you know me, if you've been listening to me for a while, I don't believe in putting yourself on a strict budget, and I'm going to address that a little later on, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about putting yourself on a strict budget. I'm not talking about being frugal. I'm not talking about putting restrictions on what kinds of food you can eat and telling you have to eat rice and beans and you can't go to restaurants. Like that is not what I'm talking about when I say you need to learn how to manage your money. Just be open-minded and perhaps think about, what if it's actually true that I could experience more freedom if I learned how to manage my money well. I want to offer that to you because that has been my experience. And I know if you take this to heart, it could be your experience too. So thought error number 2 was that you'll manage your money when you make more. Instead of thinking when I make more money or when I have more money, I'll begin to manage it, I want you to think that when I begin to manage my money, I'll have more money. It's actually flipped, right? Once you begin to manage your money, you will experience more money. And it's something that just happens. And I think it goes hand in hand with number 1, like that freedom. Because once you are really paying attention to where your money is going, once you're making conscious decisions about where you're spending your money, you'll actually find that you have more money. One of my clients, we sat down and we really looked at her expenses, and we found out that she actually had an extra $1,000 coming in every month once she started managing her money. Like just out of the blue. That wasn't after getting a raise or anything. It was just sitting down, looking at everything she had coming in and all that she had going out. It came down to her having an extra $1,000, and she couldn't believe it because the money was just disappearing. But once you start to manage your money, you'll get a handle on that, and you'll stop spending your money in ways that aren't aligned to what you really want to do with your finances. So I'll leave you with the fact that you must learn the skill of managing the money you have now, because otherwise, when more money comes in, it disappears. And we're going to talk about lifestyle creep a little later in the episode, but that is kind of what happens. It's like the more money we make, the more money we spend. But that is just an unconscious cycle that we're in, a habitual cycle that you're in. But unless you decide to really become aware of how you're handling your money and start to intentionally manage it, then it's just like it's going to disappear. But you can totally just decide, no, I'm going to manage my money. I'm going to learn this skill so that I can really experience all the financial gains that I have created in my life. So the third thought error was, it's just too much work. Like, I don't feel like it. It's just too much work. And I will tell you that whenever you are contemplating doing something that you know is good for you, and your brain offers the I don't feel like it thought, just know that that is your brain trying to keep you in your comfort zone, in the status quo. It wants to keep you right where you are, even though your comfort zone may not be all that comfortable, but your brain wants to keep you there because in its mind, in your brain's mind, it thinks, okay, we've been living this way for so long and we've been just fine. We've been surviving and my job is to keep her alive. Let's keep living this way because it might be a little dangerous to have more money than what we currently have. I know it doesn't make sense logically, but that is how our primitive brains are designed. They are designed to keep us safe and in survival mode. And it does that by just doing the familiar things you've always done because familiar is safe. Familiar has kept you alive all this time. So if you get that thought error of, I don't feel like it, I want you to have a light bulb moment and just think, oh, this is my brain just trying to keep me in my comfort zone. Let me push past this. Let me say, you know what? I know I don't feel like it, but I know that it's going to be worth it. Let's go ahead and do this. So now that we've explored why people avoid managing money, even though it's the number one wealth building skill set, now let's talk about how to actually manage money. There are 4 components to this, and so we're going to go through all 4 of them now. But I want you to know that at the very top of the money management system is income, right? You need income coming in. So remember at the very beginning, I talked about how most people think that earning and creating money is the most important skill set. And I will agree that it is a very important skill set, but I think that being able to actually manage all that money that comes in is even more important. But of course, you need the money to come in. And remember, there are plenty of people out there. Think of athletes, think of lottery winners that get windfalls, they get millions of dollars, but they don't know how to manage it. So what happens? They find themselves right back where they started, right? So you have to learn how to manage it. But at the very top of the money management system for sure is income. Now that you know that that is at the top of the money management system, let's look at the 4 components. So number 1 is you need to be able to save. This is a crucial part of managing money. You have to learn how to keep a portion of the money that you earn. If not, you'll never, ever be able to create or build wealth. And I understand that some of us are programmed to spend, and that is okay. But the problem comes in when we are overspending, and many of us are programmed to overspend, okay? And that is really where the Wealthy Woman's Academy can really come in and help you to reprogram yourself to actually enjoy saving and investing just as much as you enjoy spending. Listen, I used to spend money like nobody's business, and now I actually enjoy saving money more than I enjoy spending it. I really do. And let me tell you why this is the case. Because a lot of times when we're overspending, it feels really good in the moment, right? We get that hit of dopamine, but on the back end, there's those negative consequences that we deal with. There's the shame, there's the frustration, there's the guilt, and then we have to fix whatever mess we created. But when you're saving, it feels good to save, but then there's nothing to contend with on the back end. There are no negative consequences to saving money. And that is why I have trained myself, I have reprogrammed myself to actually love saving more than I enjoy spending. Because I know that if I overspend, there's issues, but if I save, there usually aren't, right? And don't get me wrong, I still buy nice things. I still go shopping. I still travel. I still do all of those things and I enjoy them. But honestly, I do enjoy seeing my savings and my investments grow at a higher rate than I see items coming home and sitting in my closet. It's just the way that it has happened for me. And I truly believe that can happen for you as well. And that is exactly what we work on inside of the Wealthy Woman's Academy, just to help you reprogram yourself so that you can really enjoy saving and investing just as much, if not more, than you enjoy spending, right? And as you learn the skill of saving, you can simultaneously be working on the skill of investing. So the second skill set of really being able to manage your money well is learning how to invest. Right? And this is where you multiply your money. This is where your income goes out and makes you more money and contributes to your passive income stream. There are many ways you can invest. You can invest by opening or starting a business. You can invest in real estate. You can invest in the stock market. You know, wealthy people, what they do is they take time and energy to learn about investing and investments. Right? The better you are at investing, the faster your money will grow. And I just recently did 2 episodes on investing, episodes number 30 and 31. Those are really good episodes to reference if you are interested in learning how to invest in the stock market. I really break things down for you and really help you to get rid of any thought errors that are preventing you from becoming an investor. I recommend that you start by picking an investment option that is interesting to you and just learn more about it. And at a minimum, my personal opinion is that the stock market is one of the easiest places to start, get involved in, and to learn about. There's tons of information on the internet. Again, you can go back to those podcast episodes that I just referenced and just learn about investing your money that way. And that could definitely help you to get started, and then you can expand from there. Okay, so number 3, the third skill set that you must have if you want to manage money well is to be able to manage lifestyle creep. Okay, so the definition in my book of lifestyle creep is when your expenses grow at the same rate as your income. So for example, let's say you got a $20,000 raise at work, and with that, that's about 1,000 additional dollars a month. And you somehow find a way to expand your expenses where your expenses are now $1,000 more. So maybe you upgrade your vehicle and now your car note is higher. Maybe you are taking your kids to a more expensive daycare or whatever it is. But it's just that whatever amount your income grows, magically, or I should say mysteriously, your expenses grow at that same rate. That is lifestyle creep. And I really want you all to become aware of that if that is something that you have experienced in the past, where you've gotten raises or promotions or business income and you know on paper that you're making more money, but it doesn't feel like it. A lot of times that's due to lifestyle creep because your expenses go up. Maybe you're traveling more, or maybe you're buying more expensive clothing or buying more expensive food or going out to dinner more. Whatever it is, it's equal to that income level. So you're really not able to make any wealth building progress because all of that increase is sucked up by expenses. And I want you to know that if this is something that you've experienced, it's habitual, it's unconscious, and it's happening underneath your nose. And a lot of times you don't even know that it's happening. So that is why it's super important to just get curious and ask yourself, is this something I've been experiencing, right? Because awareness is the very beginning of change, because usually once you see something, you can't unsee it. Once you have the aha realization that, oh my gosh, every time my income increases, something else in my expenses increases. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that is the beginning of change when you have that awareness. So there are two very easy ways to counteract this. Number one is to live within percentages. And I'll explain this more in the next concept that I'm going to share with you. Or number two is to consciously decide that every time you get an increase in income, you will do these three things. Number one, you will increase your savings by a certain percentage. Number two, you will increase your investments by a certain percentage. Or number three, you will increase your spending by a certain percentage. So do all three of those. So, because I do want you to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So if you get a nice bump in pay, yeah, your expenses can go up some, but only by a certain percentage. And you're also intentionally making sure you're investing more and saving more at the same time. So that is a really good way to counteract any lifestyle creep that tries to come your way. This way, you're being balanced and intentional. And then again, if you live within percentages, you'll see in a moment how that can work. So the fifth skill set is to set up a financial ecosystem that works for you. So people who are really good at managing money, they have a system, right? And I like to call it a financial ecosystem. This can be electronically, where you're using a money management app like YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. You could use your own spreadsheets that you make up, or you could just use pen and paper. Like, I'm still a pencil and paper girl. I don't like to use spreadsheets. Actually, I have a spreadsheet that I created. I update it every single year, and then I print off 12 copies of it, one for every month of the year. And then I have a binder that I keep them all in. And every month I create a brand new plan for my money. That is how I manage my money. I don't use anything electronic or anything fancy. I just have to have something. I like to cross things off. I like to erase. I like to be able to write down exactly what I'm doing with my money every single month. So it doesn't matter if you want to do it like that, or if you want to use an electronic software system, that's totally fine. But whatever you choose, I'm going to give you ways that you can actually set up your ecosystem. So the first way is to use a zero-based spending plan. This is where every dollar is giving an assignment. So every single dollar has a name. And when you finish for the month, you literally have $0 left because you've allocated every single dollar to an expense, a bill, to savings or investing. So it's like you've actually told every single dollar what to do. This is how I used to manage my money, and this may be a good place for you to start, especially if you really need to get a handle on things because maybe you don't know where all your money's going and you're like, I just need to know where everything is going. You may want to start here, but I will say, even if you do start here, you do not have to stay here long. I do recommend you do this for at least a few months, just so you can really get a handle on where everything's going, and you can use the data that you gather from doing a zero-based budget to use another one of the strategies that I'm going to talk about next. So the first one is, you probably have heard of this one before, is the 50-30-20 rule. And that just means that you spend 50% of your take-home pay on needs, 30% of your take-home pay on wants, and 20% of your take-home pay on savings. And savings can be broken down into savings and investments as well, after-tax investments. Okay, that's one rule. The other rule is called the 70-20-10 rule. And this is where you use 70% of your take-home pay for living expenses, 20% for saving, and 10% for giving. So you can give to your church or any other charity as well. Okay, now I use a different system that I created, and I just call it the bucket system, where literally my money is divided into 4 buckets. So every time I get paid, my money gets divided into 4 buckets. It's my fixed expenses bucket, my savings bucket, my spending bucket, and my investing bucket. So my investing bucket literally is just my investment account. So money just goes there automatically every time there's money that comes in. But then after that, I take my after-tax dollars and I allocate a certain amount to a bank account for my fixed expenses. So mortgage, water, groceries, and I have a certain amount that I have decided every month goes to that account. So that's the first bucket. The second bucket for me is savings, and I have that happening automatically. I don't even see it in any of my other accounts. It goes right to a savings account, and I use a high yield savings account for my savings bucket. And then my spending bucket is just money that I can do whatever I want with. I know that any money that makes it into the spending account is fair game. I can shop with it. I can travel with it. I can do whatever I want with it. And I love, love, love that freedom where I'm not necessarily saying exactly what I'm going to do with that spending money. I just know that I can do whatever I want with it. So trust yourself with a nice amount of money that you can do whatever you want with. And guess what? Do whatever you want with it. If you want to spend it all in one month, that's fine. Or if you want to save it and maybe do something big the next month, whatever you want is totally fine. It's totally up to you. But whatever you do, I want you to think about what financial ecosystem feels good to you. Do you want to start with a zero-based budget? A lot of people start there. I started there. And like I said earlier, it gives you a good idea of what is going on with your money, where everything should be going, and it will help you to determine what your percentages are. And if you're going to use the buckets like I do, how much money needs to go into your fixed expenses bucket. So just pick something that works, because remember, this is the number one skill. You have to know how you're going to manage your money, and you need a system to be able to do all the things I mentioned earlier. You need a system for saving. You need a system for spending on your necessities. You need a system for investing, and you need a system for managing lifestyle creep. So if you're using these percentages or buckets, that will automatically help you to manage lifestyle creep, especially if you're using the percentages, because it's already built in for you. Okay, so I hope this episode was helpful. I hope you got a lot out of it. And if you are interested in learning more about joining the Wealthy Woman's Academy so that you can implement these skill sets, so that you can learn these skill sets, so that you can make these types of behaviors a habit for you, I would love to be your money coach. I would love to guide you and help you to create that wealthy life that you so deserve and that you work so hard for. Simply go to the show notes and book your call. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, before you go, if you're ready to create a life with more money and more freedom, then you're invited to join the Wealthy Woman's Academy. my signature coaching program where you'll learn how to take control of your money and build wealth without sacrificing your lifestyle. To get started, head on over to jermainefoley.com/WWA. That's Jermaine with a G. See you over there. Bye-bye.